Okay, so on today's stream, we're going to be looking at survival DayZ PS4 on the unofficial servers. I'm making this video because I found one of the biggest issues with the videos online is that I think they might have forgotten a bit about what it's like to be a beginner in the game. And, you know, they're just throwing these big things at you like, download iSurvive and figure it out that way. Just find out where you are and find this place, find that place. And it's like, alright, fair dues, but it's not that easy, you know? DayZ is a very complicated game. And when you're a beginner, those first few hours are, like, critical, right, in terms of survival. And a lot of people, you know, get put off it. I almost did. And I know quite a few of my friends have been put off it simply because it's just so hard, right? But it's not hard if you know what to look for, and I always say DayZ is one of those games where it rewards you for what you know rather than how much you play. And basically, I've done the research, I've put the hours in, and I've worked out what I think is a pretty good strategy on how to survive long term in DayZ. So I'm doing this to demonstrate the gameplay, because that's another problem. I found you know, these videos, they don't show you anything. It's just someone telling you. So in this video, I'm literally going to show you how to do it. First tip: stick to the shoreline. As you've just seen a minute ago, I managed to get myself a can of Coke. Fantastic. That's a really good lucky start. So, I mean, look, there is a degree of luck involved in this strategy as well, and you might end up burning through a couple of lives to get to that point. But that's classic DayZ. You know, it's a typical situation with DayZ anyway. I mean, you're burning through lives anyway. There is no one way that's guaranteed success. So hopefully, what we look at today will work out fine. So, one of the first, as I said, one of the first things is looking along the shoreline. Grab yourself whatever you can on there. There's pretty useful stuff on there. You get, you know, the odd little dry bags. You get cans of Coke or cans of beer. Fishing hooks. If you find a fishing hook, grab that, because that's a really important tool. Try not to run anywhere. I mean, I know I ran a minute ago, but it's force of habit. Just keep your running to a minimum. If not, if you know, if you can get away with not running at all, then don't. So right now I'm looking for a village or just civilization of some kind, houses, something like that. And following a road is probably a good shout to do that. Okay, so we've got some, looks like civilization up ahead. I believe I know roughly where we are. So I'm moving over to the railway tracks because one of the single most important thing you can find early in the game, and if you do find this, then get invested at this point, is a knife, right? Obviously, you're not going to find a knife along the railway tracks, but you can find stones on there, small stones, and you'll see what they look like. They're sort of like hovering. You know, they'll be kind of interactable objects, and once you find one of those, grab it, okay? Because two of those small stones can be put together to be made to make a knife, a stone knife, and a stone knife doesn't last very long, but it's enough to get you going, okay? A bladed item of some kind is critical that is your top priority. Bladed items can include there's a lot of them. Kitchen knife, steak knife, splitting axe, hatchet, fireman's axe. I mean, Christ, even a hacksaw will do. Yeah, there's a lot of items within the game that are bladed items. So the first part of the strategy is obviously finding a knife. And once you've found that, all these clothes that you see lying around, either remember where they are to come back to them, or if you've got that knife, craft them into rags, okay? Because we're going to need that for later down the line. Make sure you're really thorough, checking everything. Especially some of the smaller bladed items like steak knives, they can be quite small. Tricky to see, so make sure you're using your vicinity. The more you play, the more you'll realise that there are certain areas of the room, and like a lot of people complain about, you know, the repetitive nature of the rooms and the houses and how they look very similar and whatnot, but you can use that to your advantage. You know, the fact that they do look similar, you do learn that you do learn where things are. Something I've found though that, and I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, but if you can stay properly fed, you don't need to worry too much about your hydration situation. Oh, it's locked. You don't need to worry too much about your hydration situation because the food tends to keep you hydrated. But I mean, there are, you know, if your water's on critical, then you obviously need some water. So chicken is going to be part of this strategy. Absolutely vital to this working. Or an animal of any kind, but a chicken's probably your best bet. But this is why I suggest finding a village, because there tends to be chickens in villages as opposed to in the forest or like on roads or anything like that. So we're doing this because the houses generally have probably already been looted, and you're not. It's going to be hard to find food just lying around, okay? And even if they, oh, there we go. We've got some guts there. Now guts, I'll explain why they're really important in a minute. I'm definitely going to grab those. But you can kind of find food lying around, right? Which is great, but you can't rely on it, okay? Whereas this strategy gives you a reliable, almost guaranteed source of food. So you know, you're pretty safe doing it this way, rather than just expecting the game to provide for you. You're gonna have to make yourself a little bit self-sustainable here. So guts have saved us a big step in this. Now guts can be turned into rope, and what we're going to be doing is ultimately making a fishing rod, okay? And that's why we'd be collecting rags. So we don't need to worry about collecting rags now, because we've got the rope, which can be made into a fishing rod. The only thing I need now is a blade to actually turn the rope into, turn the guts into a rope. But to make a rope, you need 2 stacks of rags. But that's not much of a problem, because the game is so providing with clothes, and generally a lot of them are pretty useless clothes, like a denim skirt or something like that. You know, a denim skirt from a survival point of view isn't really going to make much difference. So if you see them and you've got a blade, convert them into rags. Now, generally, that was quite lucky, finding alcohol or whatever it was, finding a drink on a zombie. Depends on the server you're on, of course, but I think with the official servers, it's pretty rare to have zombies carrying food. It's quite lucky. I'd be surprised if that happens again. Barrels lying around. It's a good idea checking barrels just in case someone stored something in it. Try not to pick it up. That chicken is really close, isn't it? There's a reason you can check barrels. I mean, I don't know if a fire barrel is any different to a normal barrel, I'm not sure, but some people use them for storage, you know, for being able to come back to a game or find a place that they like, and if they die, all their stuff's kept in there. I've never done that myself, but I have seen that done on quite a few occasions. So my top priority still is finding a knife, because without a knife, I can't really do anything. So as soon as I find that, the game gets very serious, and we can get invested in this. But up until that point, I would say, up until the point that you find a bladed item, your character is pretty disposable, so don't get too invested. Okay, there we go. This is it now. We are fully invested. This is serious. Let's do this. Now the real work starts. I need to find that chicken. That's the next step. So once you found your knife, you can start really getting serious about this, okay? A knife will give you the ability to cut the chicken up, which is really important, because you need to be able to get the meat and the bones. But it also gives you the ability to like cut bark and chop down trees easier, which to cook the chicken, to make fires, to dry yourself off, things like that. Like a knife is I would argue a knife is the most important part of the game, without a doubt. Like, in terms of survival at least, there's so much you can't do without a knife. Nearby. So chickens can usually be found, they're little white blobs or little brown blobs. They sort of just stick up above the grass. So it's worth scanning the floor just everywhere you go, and the white ones tend to stand out quite a bit more. But it's also worth listening as well. So it's gone a bit dead. You can't really hear the chicken anymore, so I must not be close. I must have like gone too far away. So it's worth just keeping an ear out. Oh, there we go. I've got it back. Still quite far away though. So at this point it's a race to find the chicken. So remember, step 1 is find a knife. Or priority 1 is find a knife. Priority 2, get yourself some rope. At the same time, if you know, whilst you're kind of finding your rope, or if you haven't found a rope already, whilst you're looking, also listen out for a chicken. And that's your next part. Now when we catch the chicken, if we catch the chicken, we're gonna kill it, cut it up, cook the actual meat from it, and then with the bones we're gonna make fishing hooks. And then with the fishing hooks and with the blade, we can then dig up worms. And Bob's your uncle, you've got yourself a sustainable source of food. And it's fairly easily done as well. You need just those three things really. A fishing rod. Well, not even that. A knife, rags, and a chicken. And then from there, you are pretty set. At least in the short term. Well, medium term, I would say. Gives you long enough to find another source of food. Put it that way. We have a better backpack over here as well. Look at that. Lost the chicken again. This fucking thing, honestly. We are playing Hunt the Chicken a little bit here. Usually it's a lot easier than this. Usually there's chickens all over the place, and it's especially in villages, but it seems that this one just isn't showing itself right now. But the important thing is the noise. You do hear the noise. There is a chicken about here, so I've got quite a bit of time now to find it. At least until my my food bar starts getting sort of red. And that's when you need to start worrying. We are getting closer. I'm pretty sure there is a chicken around here in this local area. So I'm very confident it's nearby. So I don't know if it's just me, but I do find chickens quite difficult to kill. The angle that you've got to move to hit them, it's not the easiest thing in the world. You've got to again, depending on the weapon, you've got to have be of a distance to hit them. What I would say though is if you've got a gun, if you're lucky enough to have found a gun by this point, try not to shoot them, because I think it could really damage the meat. It might even ruin it sometimes. Which, if that does happen, then you've blown your chance. That's it. You're gonna have to find another chicken, and it defeats the whole purpose. Jesus Christ! Come on, flailing about. So, one of the things I would say is at this point, it's probably worth doing this near water, or near the coast, as near to the coast as possible, because you're going to need to, if you've not found gloves by this point, you're going to need to wash your hands. So, once you've cut up your chicken, your hands will be soiled. If you see now, look, they're bloody. At that point, you need to wash them before you eat, because otherwise you will get sick. And that is not something you want to entertain at this level of the game. It's basically a death sentence, unless you're very, very careful and you've got an ample supply of food, which we don't yet. But now we've got everything that we need. We have the building blocks for survival here. Okay. So with the chicken breast, we're gonna, well, first of all, we're gonna wash our hands. Then we're gonna get back to a house. We're gonna cook the chicken breast. With materials that we cut on the way back. So we're going to chop up, cut up some bark, chop a bush down to get some sticks. Then we're going to cook the chicken. Then we're going to make some fishing hooks out of the bones, which will then allow us to fish. So we're making progress. We're getting there. This is good. This is good news. Now, washing your hands is a bit tricky if you're doing it in the ocean, because you want to do it without getting wet. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible, because I mean, you're technically kneeling, but we'll see. Now, fishing's a different story, because you are spending on quite a bit of time in the water, and unless, because the tide is coming in and out, you're going to struggle to get in there without getting there with a decent level of water without getting wet. It's not the end of the world if you do get wet, because we're about to make a fire and the fire dries you off. So problem solved, really. It's not that big a deal. It's not the end of the world. It just burns calories faster. That's the only problem. Right, so off we go to find a bush, which will then give us some sticks. And while we're at it, I think it might be an idea to grab, just before we use our knife anymore, and I don't know, just so that I know I've got a reliable source, I'm gonna grab some a long stick from that bush over there, so that we can actually make a fishing rod with it, which a long stick is necessary for a fishing rod. Now we've got everything we need to do everything that we need now. The only thing we're missing is worms, and they're very easy to get with a knife. So although they do hammer your knife, so I like to leave them till last, just to make sure that you've got enough to get everything else, and then at that point it's just a case of like how many worms can you get equals how many fish you can get. So we've got everything we need. We've got all the chicken. We've got, which we're going to eat just to get our food up in the meantime while we fish. We've got the sticks. We've got we've even got the rags. We've even got the guts to make rope. So let's get this done. Let's get this cooked. Now I'm lucky because I've got matches here, whereas if I didn't have matches, I'd have to be making a hand drill kit with the bark and the stick. So the matches kind of mean that I don't have to do that. But with bark and with a stick, you can make a fire very easily. Now, from what I know, from what I understand, baking, putting your meat in the cooking section of the fireplace makes it more calorific, whereas it doesn't last as long. Whereas smoking it doesn't give you as many calories, but the amount is negligible. We're talking like a very small fraction of what you're missing out on. But like, it does last longer. So when you once you've got that initial meal and you're a bit more established, you can then move over to start drying some food, because that's going to last you longer, and for long-term survival, it's probably a good idea to have some dried food lying around. Ooh, gunshot. Hope that's not nearby. Didn't sound too nearby. Okay, so that's it. We're pretty ready now. So let's get out of here, because obviously there's a fire going. Get my pad in this one. Right, so we've been quite lucky here now. So we've got the chicken. We're going to eat the chicken. Then we're going to make a fishing rod, because we've got everything we need for a fishing rod now as well. Very useful. Where's my machete gone? Oh, there it is. Okay, so now we're going to get some worms. We get a few worms, just in case we lose some. Proper knackers you knife though, doing this. Not good for it.
And it is worth having a few extra worms available, because there are instances where you do fish and you lose your worm and you don't get anything back from it. So it is worth having a few extra worms just in case.
Where's the other hook? Why have we only got one hook? I'll leave it inside. Where's the other hook gone? What did I do with it? Damn it. Oh, could it be in the cooking pot? There we go. Nice. Okay, let's put that in my inventory. Let's get the next one. And let's start all over again. So without any gloves, it's probably going to be best to cut the fish here, and that way you can wash your hands afterwards as well. I'm really hoping I'm getting killed now. I'm gonna be well pissed off. So that's the problem with bone fishing hooks. They don't last very long at all. But it's enough to get you going. Sounded very close indeed. Okay, I've got one more worm. Let's give it a go. I should probably get some fire stuff on the way back as well. Oh, server restarts in 15 minutes. That's so annoying. Sick as well if I don't sort this temperature thing out. Come on. Chop chop. Well, I'm in it for the long haul, might as well keep going until it stops me. The game's just like, nah, you greedy fucker, you've already got 3. Don't need another one. Oh, I'm not wet anymore for some reason. Yeah, I'm knee deep in water. There we go. Let's hope it's not some wellies. Yes, we've got a fish. Got no space for a fish though, so let's ditch. Let's put that on the back. Let's put you there. Okay, let's get out of the water first. That would be smart. Right, okay. So we're going to ditch all the fish. Did I not get 4? Oh no, I didn't. Did I? Did I? That's so annoying. I'm sure I got 4. Yeah, well, there we go. So if you notice, the machete started turning yellow in the bottom left-hand corner. That's probably just from the worms, but it's done us well. It's really helped us with everything we needed to do. So it's not that big a problem. We should get enough food to last us until we find the next bladed item, or if we're really lucky and find a sharpening stone. Oh, and it's starting to rain. That's just perfect, isn't it? Okay. Now we should probably grab a few more sticks. So let's put the brush down. We want a little bush actually, don't we? You stupid motherfucker. Amazing. Okay, right, so this is it. This is how we get sustainable. So let's put the bark down. Let's put half the sticks down. And we've got a fair bit of fish to cook, so let's put 3 down. Let's put the wrench down. Put this in your hands. Place this in the fireplace. And that activates the fireplace. Let's then load up the fuel. I'm going to grab the cooking pot because that's going to cause me issues with inventory and shit, so let's put you down there. Alright, okay, let's grab the matches. In fact, let's put all the fish down. So we can do 2 at a time here. Move this as well. I'm just going to bake them all because I don't expect them to last all that long. We're not at that point yet. And now we just wait. So we'll cook these and then I'll hang around the fire till I'm dry. I'll wring my clothes out as well. And then I'll sign off. Okie doke. Right, so let's put you in the hands. Can I ring it? Why can I not ring it? No, okay. Are they ruined? They might be ruined. Okay. No, they're not even wet. No, they're not even wet, look. And I'm not even wet anymore, which is awesome. Okay, so that's pretty much how you do it. That's plenty of fish there. I'll eat one of them now. And then that's a really substantial meal very early into the game, which then buys me quite a lot of time to be able to go and find other food, other weapons, and just move inland basically. If I can find another chicken, you can rinse and repeat that process. Obviously we've not got the, sorry, it's probably ruined, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, we've not got the hooks anymore, so we on borrowed time still, but that's plenty of borrowed time. Three mackerel. That'll last a fair while. That. So yeah, so that's how you do it. That's how you do it in under an hour as well, which is not bad going. A bit of a speed run there. 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes. I'll wait for my food to finish going up. Find out what server I'm on as well. It'd be good to come back to this. Okay, there we go. That's how you do it.